Hi everyone and welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name is VMPF and this is the 250th numbered episode of Nonsense Whisky. Of course I've done more videos than that, but this is the numbered reviews. I do a nice little series of them all. They're all numbered and they're all in playlists and things like that. So if you want to go and check out basically anything you want over the last 250 episodes, I'm sure I've covered a whisky that you like, maybe even one or two that you don't. In any case, it's a special day because it's Christmas. I'm wearing a Christmas jumper, sort of winter jumper that is probably one size too small for me these days, packing on the winter weight. And I have an exceptional whiskey in the glass here for you to try that's just come through my letterbox thanks to Douglas Laing. This is the Big Peat Christmas Edition, or Big Peat at Christmas 2019. Now I've tried a couple of Big Peats in my time. The standard one's part of the remarkable regional malts range. It's pretty available all the time for a really good price. And the idea behind this specific one is that it's a blend of Islay whiskies. So it's a blended malt, not just a blend. And in that, there's some Kalila, some Ardbeg, some Bamor, and some Port Ellen. So it's pretty much a kind of like super group of whiskies coming at you to kind of give you this awesome flavour. Now, if you check the channel out for any length of time, you'll know that I've covered the standard release and the 10-year-old. I've now got the Christmassy one. This is the first Christmassy one that I've done. And I've also got a wee sample of a 33-year-old. So I'm going to be looking forward to covering that. I might do that as a kind of a bit of a sideways special around Christmas time, because as you can see, I don't have an awful lot of that. So it's going to be pretty difficult to do an in-depth review on something that's that old and that tiny. But let's just leave that back down there and we'll get back onto this one. So, the Christmas edition. It's been going for quite some years now. It's probably 2012, 2011, something like that. And it's a cask strength version of the standard Big Peat. Now, if you know the range at all, if you don't, then it's non-chill filtered, natural coloured. This one, cask strength. So this one is a glorious 53.7%. Not the highest that a Big Peat Christmas edition has seen, but also not quite the lowest either. I think there was one that was at 53.6. I'm going to go on a limb and say the 2012, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Anyway, enough whittering about this. Let's have a look at what we've got inside the Jason Whiskey Wise glass. Where are you, Jason? Do come back. And as you can see, it's pretty light. It's pretty light in colour. Natural coloured, as I just said. We don't know the age of this thing. It's probably fairly young, but, you know, we'll see when we get into the nose and see if we detect anything like that. I should also say that there's a good old price bump on this as well between the standard release and this. The standard is about £35. This works out to about £50 to £55 depending on where you are in the world. So there's definitely some considerations to have, but if you like your cask strength stuff, I'm pretty sure you're going to find this one alright. Anyway, let's get onto the nose and see what we got, shall we? Oh, I mean, considering where I started with the channel 3 years ago, I'm absolutely loving noses like this now. Obviously, huge peat. It's not called Big Peat for nothing, right? So, if you don't like peated whiskey in any way, shape or form, I can categorically say this is not the one for you to kind of twist your mind into peated whiskies. There are others that you can do, and I really should pull a playlist together of my favourite ones of those so that you can have a look at them, but that's a job for another day. Really heavy peat, but it isn't like it's not like medicinal peat. You know, we're not really getting any of those kind of Lafroig notes. Obviously, none of that's in there. So, if you know your Islas very well, then you're going to be leaning towards the notes of the Ardbegs and the Kalilas, that kind of thing, that kind of earthy peat. But it's kind of nice, warming, burnt wood kind of peat rather than a kind of ashen, medicinal, dead bonfire kind of peatiness. But, you know, there's some sweetness in there as well. Let's have a go on the palate, shall we? Superb. Absolutely superb. Generally speaking, when I am buying whiskey for myself, not for the channel, this is the kind of thing that I'm heading towards now. This kind of high ABV, high peated whiskey. It's not too overpowering on the peat, actually. So if you're a Big Peat fan, this is going to kind of on the lighter end of that, I guess, I would say. You know, it's still a little ashen, actually, on the palate. A little bit less of that kind of warming, burnt woodiness that I usually associate with an Ardbeg. moving on towards the Kalila side, I'm not sure really how much Port Ellen or Bamor is in there, but I'm not getting that kind of standard Bamor funk off of this. Not really that well versed in Port Ellens either, to be honest, so I can't really tell their influence in this that much, but the kind of Kalila and Ardbeg are kind of almost that they're fighting together, but not like against each other. They're fighting for the same goal almost. Dare I say, a little bit of nonsense. But for me, absolutely superb. A difficult one for me to say about the price because it is definitely worth the price, without a doubt. But you won't be disappointed with the standard release also. In fact, I would highly recommend you get the standard release. If you like peat in any way, shape or form, just get it and try it if you've ever been not sure about it. And if you love the standard release and have been eyeing this up for the last few years, then I would say absolutely 100% get it. And if you're not sure about this one, you can save yourself a few quid by getting the previous year's one. I noticed this on Master of Malt right now for about £47 if you're in the UK. So you can save yourself a few bob and go and check that one out instead. But for me, you know me, I'm a big Douglas Laing fan. This is probably the best of that they do, the kind of Big Peat range, in my opinion, on my palate these days. And then obviously now you've got that bump up into the cask strength vibes with the Christmas edition. For me, it's a no-brainer, but it might not be for you. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you want to hear about this 33-year-old Big Peat as well, because I'm desperate to try that, and I want to know if you want to hear my thoughts on it. See you again on another No Nonsense Whisky video.